Hello, I'm Crispin and welcome to Poker Room Review, your guide for live poker rooms all across the world. For each video, we review a live poker venue, discussing the important things you need to know when planning your next poker destination. For each venue, we review a range of characteristics, including location and access, game options, service and experience, and rake and rewards. We also discuss any rules, quirks, and issues relating to each location. Today we are in London, England, in the heart of its vibrant party district of Leicester Square, with the bustling plaza, street performances, and famous live shows and productions. We've done a review previously here at Empire Casino, a few doors down from where we are today. This time we've returned to review the Hippodrome. How does it measure up? Let's find out. Category 1, location and access. Hippodrome Casino is in one of the all-time great locations. London boasts something like 5 international airports: Heathrow, Stansted, Gatwick, Luton, and Central, I think. Transfers can be expensive, but are definitely convenient. In fact, if you're coming in from Heathrow, the Elizabeth line will take you straight to Leicester Square station, which is directly across the street. But even the surrounding subway stations are just a short walk away. Accommodation is everywhere. It's London after all. With restaurants, entertainment, cocktail bars, it's all there. Even the British Museum is here, which is completely free and quite close. As for the Hippodrome itself, as soon as you arrive at Leicester Square Station, it is directly across the street. You absolutely cannot miss it. The poker room is a couple of flights of stairs up from the main gaming floor. It's not difficult, just follow the signs. Honestly, it's hard to think of a location anywhere in the world that is more conveniently located than Hippodrome Casino in Leicester Square, London. The only drawback is the cost of transfers, but that doesn't really count for much given the scale and convenience of this major city. For location and access, 5 stars. Category 2, game options. Another great range at Hippodrome is the game options, at least as it pertains to cash games. It always has Texas Hold'em running all day, every day, with games starting at £1, £2 with a £50 to £400 buy-in, and 2-5 with a £250 to £1,000 buy-in, and higher during the busiest periods. PLO also runs here with 1-2 available with a £100 to £1,000 buy-in, and 1-2 PLO with a mandatory £5 under the gun straddle at £250 to £1,000 buy-in. Same with 2-5 games sometimes available too. At least some games are going perfectly pretty much all day, every day, 7 days a week. Obviously a lot busier in evenings and weekends. With respect to tournaments though, Hippodrome Casino, well, it's officially a PokerStars tournament venue and does attract major festivals running there, including some of the biggest PokerStars events outside of Las Vegas. So that's fantastic. However, it's also really important that you do not rely on the Hippodrome Casino website to tell you what's running and what isn't, because that's seldom kept up to date. Instead, check out the PokerStars website, their social media, etc., so you get a sense of when these things are running and when the festivals are on. Overall, however, with its excellent operating hours, solid mix of game types and stake levels for the cash games, and occasional major festival for the tournament series, well, there are plenty of great options. The only drawback is that tournaments only seem to run during these events, which can sometimes be a challenge to find out about and plan for. For game options, 4 stars. 3. Service and experience. Now, before I delve too far into this section, I want to give a big shout out to a staff member who the night I was there first for my review was doing her very last shift after 7 years at the Hippodrome. She was great, a lovely young woman called Andrea. So if you see this video, Andrea, drop a comment below, let everyone know you're here. I'm sure all the staff and customers who frequent the Hippodrome would like to know where you're at as well. As for the Andrea Less experience at Hippodrome, it's still great. There's a permanent registration desk and other cash desk where you purchase chips. There's a comfortable waiting area when you're on the list, which does rotate through as a reasonable clip. ATMs are next to the registration desk, and apparently you can also withdraw money where you exchange for your chips. Now, as for the atmosphere, first, whether you're a smoker or non-smoker is kind of the best of both worlds. If you watch this channel, you know I come down really harshly on venues that make players sit in a smoke-filled environment for many hours at a time. Well, this place has probably the best option where the non-smokers at the tables are completely fine, but there is a smoking area out in the quadrangle, which isn't very far away, with an open roof. And so people can smoke pretty close by without it drifting to the tables. The furniture is also great. Chairs are comfortable. The tables are large, borderline too large because the dealers really have to stretch. The TVs are all along the walls, showing great sporting events. Massages are available at the table, and the wait staff are frequent and friendly. On the flip side, it can be pretty cramped in this poker room. Those large tables really do appear to be shoved in together. The poker chips are kind of odd colors as well, relative to the sort of standard around the world, and that takes some getting used to. If you're a regular, it won't affect you, but you can really accidentally throw out some wrong denominations if you're not careful. And from what I could see, there didn't appear to be any shuffling machines, which is a kind of unusual for a poker room of that size. The dealers also need a lot more chips in their tray than they do to manage the rake, and it causes them not to want to give out change unless you don't have the exact money in your stack, which might make sense sometimes, but often players still need the change because their blinds are coming around soon or whatever, and they are thinking ahead. Other than that, the paintwork is a little on the dark side, reminding me a lot of Melbourne's old Vegas room, which wasn't the best aspect of that room, but the tables themselves do have good lighting. Honestly though, other than perhaps the tight squeeze, which really does impact the experience somewhat, the rest are pure nitpicks and matters of taste in an otherwise fantastic environment to play in. For service and experience, 3 stars. 4. Rake and Rewards. Rake is decent with an asterisk. What is so wild is that the Hippodrome is situated in some of the most expensive real estate location on earth. In an area of London where a 1-bedroom apartment costs around £5 million, this poker room charges just 5% rake. That's really good, especially when you think of the overheads. Also, when you sit down as a new player, you don't have to post a blind and you're dealt in straight away. On the flip side though, and there is a flip side, the rake cap for pretty much all games is £11, which is a killer at 1-2. And on top of this, dealers do accept tips, which is a bit unusual for a country where otherwise tipping culture isn't really a thing and minimum wages are reasonably high. Also, there didn't seem to be much in the way of jackpots, rewards, or other high-hand bonuses while I was there. Overall though, considering the expenses, the taxes, the salaries, etc., it's a pretty good deal. Rake and Rewards, 3 stars. Rules and quirks. So here is where there's a few oddities at the Hippodrome that are worth discussing. Some are good, like, as I said, new players not having to post a blind. Also, hands can be run twice if the pot is over £500. Staff will also collect cash from you at the table if you need to top up, and leave a money behind token which speeds things up quite efficiently. This is really important in a tightly packed room where you really don't want people moving around too much. One rule quirk though that I found a bit strange is that if someone straddles under the gun and that hand, the big blind, busts out, then the straddler no longer has to play the big blind on the next hand. Instead, it immediately skips past them to the small blind. This means there's always going to be a big blind and a small blind rather than one person paying a big blind with a dead small. I guess that marginally increases the EV for straddling, very marginally, probably to a negligible degree, except that if the big blind is exceptionally short, it might be worthwhile. Curiously, it got me thinking about it though. But anyway, what's the real verdict? Well, Hippodrome's poker room is an absolute must if you're in London, as is Leicester Square more generally. In fact, if you have friends, family, they can all have a great time in Leicester Square. You can have a marvellous time out on the town. And for me personally, whenever I fly into the UK going forward, I will probably take at least one trip to Hippodrome. So for its ripper location, good hours, decent rake and friendly staff, for Hippodrome London, a solid 4 stars. We review new poker rooms regularly, so if you found value in this content, please hit the like and subscribe buttons because that's the only way YouTube knows that's the case. Also, please, if you have any Facebook groups or poker forums you're a member of, please consider sharing this video because getting more views is the only way we're going to be able to make more content. In the meantime, have you been to Hippodrome in London? If so, what did you think? Is there anything I've missed or recommendations you'd like to include? I'm sure everyone would appreciate it down below. If you want to check out any more videos, you could do so right now. Otherwise, thank you for watching and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.